what do you wish faculty knew about how to help you succeed?
Sometimes it takes more than that one time in the class to really grasp the concept.
So I think when they allowed us to do like peer things during class, it was really helpful because we had the guidance of them if we were stuck or I don't know, it just allowed me to engage more and feel more comfortable asking questions and knowing that everyone else is also on the same page as me is also helpful.
So you know you're not alone. So when you say not in the best in the classroom, what are some things that maybe didn't kind of vibe with you?
Just they didn't really let us do our own examples.
Okay.
We didn't get to actually work through the problem on our own. We just had to watch the slides.
I like to, help my peers out whenever they do ask me because, if you understand a subject, then you're able to teach it to somebody else. So, I believe that, so that's how I know I'm learning.
I think they kind of stop, they take a beat, they realize, hey, this is brand new for these guys. This is hardcore stuff that we're learning. So hey, just taking the time to sit back and be like, where are you guys at? How are we feeling? Are we good to move forward? Should we focus a little more on this? Just kind of reading the room, I guess is the best way to put it.
So the biggest way that I know I've learned something is that when the next year and the professor's like, oh yeah, you learned this, that I can recall it.
Wow, it's interesting to hear that students care about their progress in the classroom.
So Olivia, thank you so much for being here. Do you mind introducing yourself and then kind of what resonated with you about the videos?
Yeah, I'm Olivia Burnshead. I'm an assistant teaching professor here at ASU. I teach biomedical engineering, teach a number of different classes from students kind of first year up until their third year. And a lot of that really resonates with me. There are so many different aspects as an instructor that we have to think about in our course design of how to help students succeed, because sometimes they are just ticking the boxes and trying to get the grade that they need, but a lot of times they chose this major because they care about the course content, so figuring out ways to meet them where they're at are really important. So I've been doing this for a little over 5 years now and focusing a lot on our BME curriculum, and we've made a number of different changes, especially as we've shifted to online modalities and then trying to figure out how can we use the content that we develop for online for our in-person courses. So really trying to think of different ways to stay relevant and meet our students where they are. So I do what I call a semi-flip format, where we kind of have students mostly watch course content before they come to class, and then in class we definitely do class activities and some hands-on kind of stuff, and then do some types of assessment as we go to figure out did they actually understand the course content that was flipped that they watched ahead of time. And then we have some activities to assess that a little bit and delve deeper into the topic.
You mentioned something too about that you found out from students that they didn't like the flipped. You want to talk about kind of how did you get that information?
Yeah, so through polling software. Actually, I'm a big fan of polling the class, and I can ask students verbally, but what I find, especially in large classes, I'm often teaching to 60 to 100 students. So it's easier for me to get a better understanding of where students are if I actually poll them, and then I can see, well, 60% of you think this and 30% of you think this, because students learn in different ways, right? We have different learning approaches that work for different students. So being able to see kind of what they think. So I think that's one of the things that's been really helpful with kind of figuring out what students have and what they need, and then them being able to kind of self-direct their path as they're going into classes.
I think assessment, sometimes we see a lot of courses that are very content heavy focused, right? And you spoke about your experiences as very lecture focused, and so it's not necessarily intuitive to build in these checks of assessment. And I will say you're being very modest about about the amount of assessment that occurs in your course, because you have the asynchronous review using polling software. Then you're doing assessment with the content that they learn right there. And then you're doing assessment, again, they're doing problem solving and assessment during that whole piece. And then they've got a unit quiz.
So online unit assessments where they can have open book, open notes, so they're getting some time to think about the process and then do it themselves. If I'm seeing that less than 80% are understanding something, then I know I need to delve deeper.
And that comes specifically from polling, the software, right? Immediately, because you're real time assessing.
It's really hard in large classes, right, to be able to do a homework assignment and then get it graded really quickly, right? Unless you're doing only scoring, no partial credits, only get it if they score the perfect answer, right? And that's just really hard to do. And especially in engineering classes where we want them to get the correct answer in the end, but we want to teach them about the engineering problem solving method and how they're thinking about solving problems. So a lot of times we have to kind of hold their hand at first and really walk them through, these are the steps of how you solve a problem and how you think about a problem. And then we kind of ask them the more open-ended problem. And sometimes we jump ahead too quickly, right? If I'm in a third-year class, I'm like, they've already learned that step.
They should know this.
They should know this, and I'll ask them, and I've learned that myself, is I'll sometimes ask them an open-ended question. I'll expect them to get to the answer, and they have no idea what I'm asking for a lot of times, and they're just kind of lost in the weeds. Yeah. And so then I'll have to, reassess. I got to change this problem. I need to rewrite it. I need to write kind of step by step. How do they get there? And then the next time I ask them about it, I can have it be a lot more open-ended.
Yeah. Contact the Learning and Teaching Hub. Together, we can help find the best strategy for your classroom. Click on the resources below, and we look forward to hearing from you.